Sentry mode activated. Target acquired.
Hey there hunters, and welcome back to the Gunners Guild. So I'm going to start with the Bogans update for 2.0, and since there's kind of a lot to talk about, we're going to be breaking this up into two videos, one for the raw emulation, Reds and Pierce, and the other for elemental sticky status. We will be doing both LBG and Heavy Bogan at the same time though, so without wasting too much time, let's just start this because I've already delayed this long enough. Well, we're going to begin with normal MO, and it should be pretty clear by now that normal will never be the meta MO. It just doesn't deal enough damage, and motion values are way too little. But that's okay, because it's still adequate to get the hunts done, and people looking to get into gunning should probably start with normals anyway, because they're actually really easy to use and require the least amount of effort to actually build a set toward. They have pretty solid armor pieces as well. So let's briefly cover and review normal MOs and their properties. First off, we're going to be using normal 3s over rapid fire normal 2s, simply because normal 2s, even on rapid fire, just don't cut it in Rise. Normal 2's motion value is 20, which is just super low compared to the fire rates we have now. On rapid fire, a normal 2 effectively gets a 2.1 multiplier because it's a 3 burst volley at 0.7 times each, so we can just slap on a 42 motion value per burst here, which is pretty good because at the fastest recoil, it's still going to take 1 second to shoot. So it's pretty much stuck right there at 42 motion value per second worth of damage. Now normal 3s have a 34 motion value, and since the fastest recoil will let us single fire these things every 0.6 seconds, we effectively get 66.6 motion value per second worth of damage. So yeah, it's a lot higher. Now even if we were to apply the 20% bonus of rapid fire up on the normal 2s, we're still only going to get 50.4 motion value per second. So yeah, it's just not going to compete with normal 3s unfortunately. And that's not a bad thing either, since we have pretty stellar normal 3 bowguns. Now a few other things to note is that we do technically have minimal crit distance with normals, though it is very short compared to Pierce. And critical distance is long enough that we really don't need to grab ballistics with this. The only thing you really need to worry about with the bowguns are hard scaling stats like normal up, attack, crit boost, stuff like that. And since we're going to be using really high clip sizes, skills like ammo up and spare shot aren't going to do a whole lot for us, so it's preferable just to have more damage across your entire clip. So the bowguns we're going to be using for normal 3s are pretty obvious. We're pretty much using the same stuff as before. Light bowgun, we're going to be using Zinogre's light bowgun for normal 3s, but because it has rapid fire slices backup if you need that in hunt. Why we'd use normal 3 over rapid fire slices beyond me, but if someone's going to do it, then go ahead and do it. Now, Magnum Malo's light bowgun is also a fine normal option since it's got great overall stats, a 2 and a 1 slot, and the extra supportive ammo that you could want. But new to the roster, we're going to be bringing in the Kushala light bowgun, which while it has similar clip sizes and slightly less raw compared to Zinogre's or Mango's, Kushala's soul basically nets you a 30% affinity at all times, assuming you keep shooting. Kushala's light bowgun also has pretty solid status ammo with a sticky 3 and para 2s, which neither Zin nor Mango has access to. The only downsides to Kushala is that you're running with 10 less raw, and you're losing a level 2 slot for 25% affinity, which is a fine trade on paper. It just might make set building a little bit more difficult. I do really like Kushala's light bowgun for normal 3s though, so I think this is going to be my go-to. On heavy bowgun side for normal 3s, kind of stuck on a fence here as well. Zinogre's light bowgun is prime here. 253 raw, 10% affinity, level 2 slot, clip 7 on normal 3 that can walk and shoot. Dude, it's got Wyvern Heart. It's a pretty awesome bowgun across the board. But Chameleos on the other hand, slightly less raw at 236, no affinity, but it has 2 more level 1 slots and has access to all the status ammo in the game. And Chameleos Soul can grant you a pretty small bonus to your hit boost, attack, life, all that stuff, because it basically works like proccing Spirit Bird pickups. Pretty cool actually, so we can actually get more attack here as the fight progresses. Now the only downside to this bowgun is that we can't walk and shoot, walk and reload, which is kind of a huge pain in the ass for heavy bowgun. I'm sure some people can make it work, but I kind of wanted to include it here, because the status ammo alone makes it a fine option in my eye. Because look, normals aren't ever going to be crazy for kill times, you might as well do something else on top of the normals, right? Help your teammates out. Now for the armor sets on normal light bowguns, basically all the bowguns have level 2 slots except Kushala, so they're all going to be pretty similar. Now you can run sets like this with a decent charm. Now I'm running basically Wex 2 in a level 2 slot, but you can run stuff like normal 2, attack 1, and a level 2 and a level 1 slot. Or drop a point of crit eye and you have Wex 2, attack 2 charm, and you can kind of basically make this work on any charm that's got about 3 or 4 level 2 slots. Like crit eye 2 attack 2, or like attack 3 Wex 1, Wex 2 crit boost 1, stuff like that. There's a ton of ways to making this work, and you can make your set even a little bit better if you get a better charm. Hell, even losing the crit eye wouldn't even break the build. Just throw something together with something like Kush or Tio's head, Vike chest for that level 3 slot, Tio or Vike gloves or Rathalos arms, Anjanath or Double Coil, or Ingot or Hunter legs, stuff like that. You know the drill at this point. It's not that difficult to make sets, just make sure you have a relatively decent charm to compensate. Please note that you do have to prioritize normal up, then weakness exploit, then crit boost, then stuff like attack and crit eye are worth about the same. 50% affinity on crit boost is worth about 7.5% more damage, but attack boost 7 is worth about 10%, so you know, whatever, it's not going to make or break it either way. Just go crazy. Just as long as you got, you know, your recoil and reload down to fast and fastest, normal up 3s, and then everything else is just icing on the cake. So moving on to spread bowguns. Well, bowgun really. We're pretty much only going to be using spread 3s with Magnamalo's bowgun. Yeah, even sadly rapid fire available on the Juratotus, not quite good. Rapid fire spread 2s can't really compete with single shot spread 3 on Mango. I was running some tests, and with spare shot setups or a high Ross setup, both with rapid fire up 3 and spread up 3, and then I compared them to Magnamalo's DPS, and it just doesn't come close. Now, to optimal reload and recoil, rapid fire spread 2s are going to get 58.8 motion value per second worth of damage, and even with rapid fire up on top of that spread up, it's only going to get about 70. But remember that it takes about a whole second to fire a rapid burst volley of 3. Now, spread 3 on the other hand has a 0.6 fire rate and reaches 83.3 motion value of damage per second. It's just too far off, sadly. Now that being said, it's not as though Juratotus rapid fire spread 2s are awful. It does have sleep, paras, and sticky 3 to support to fall back on, which is very nice. So if you want to make a set revolving around rapid fire spread 2s, totally can. It's just not really going to compete with Magnamalo's for spread 3s, unfortunately. Spread 3 is still a solid MO on Rise, and we can make it even better by increasing its range with Ballistics, which is really nice. You get like a 40% increase in its range. Now, Ballistics is just aim booster. They just changed the aim in 2.0. Not sure why, but whatever. So we do need 3 points of this, which isn't horrible since it's a level 2 deco only. And Spare Shot is also a nice touch on spread since you're basically right at the cusp of needing it because your clip sizes are too small and not needing it because it's too large. And it's not really out of our grasp to get. So if you can fit it, get it. If not, no big deal. Other than that, make sure you have your standard DPS boosting skills like Spread Up, Wex, and Crit Boost. Now, as far as Puke's heavy bowgun goes, yes, shot for shot, it's a bit better than Mango's. However, Mango's can make slightly better sets because it's got a level 2 slot, and it has all the backup MOs with the sticky 3s and the slice, which is much better than Puke's. I like Puke's, just doesn't quite cut it for me. Now, on our armor sets for spread bowguns, crit is favored over raw here because how easy it is to get crit boost in and weakness exploit. Attack 7's great, but honestly, it's so much easier to scale crit instead now that we have a ton of crit eye and crit boost pieces, and Tio's armor is just amazing. So that plus decos, come on. Armor pieces for spread sets will change depending on how good your charm is, but you should be able to fit something like this plus or minus 1 or 2 crit eye. Tio crown, no brainer. You have a choice between Vike chest and Rachna chest. Though Rachna does have one more level 1 slot over Vike. Gloves, pretty much always going to be Puke as we want both the spare shot and the ballistics here. Rachna coil is always going to be a thing too for a waist because it's a level 3 and 2 level 2 slots. And for the boots, I'm using Kadachi because it's a crit eye 2 and a level 2 slot, basically worth 3 level 2s. You can use Ingots or Hunters or Rajangs here as well, depending on your charm. So a really good optimal charm, you can run Spread Up 1, Ballistics 2 and a level 2 slot. Or you can run something like Wex with a level 2 slot and you're going to lose like a point of crit eye. Not a whole lot. Either way, like you're basically going to be running a set similar to this, plus or minus maybe some points of spare shot, maybe Ballistics if you don't need it, or crit eye. Just take out what you feel is not necessary if you can't really fit it. Not that big of a deal. Your set's not going to make or break regardless. Granted, for spare shot, if you're going to take it out, just take all of it out. There's no point running anything lower than spare shot 3, and then put your stuff into Ballistics and crit eye. Light bowgun and heavy bowgun are obviously going to run the same sets since they have the same weapons, so the same slots, same stats, no big deal. Now lastly, let's touch on Pierce MO, which is everyone's favorite. Not a whole lot has changed in patch 2.0 here because basically we just have more freedom in our armor sets now that we can cram a lot more utility skills than we could before. That's it. Now Ballistics should be one of your skills you consider grabbing 2 points of, as it will reduce your minimum crit distance window you need to get closer with your Pierce. Being inside the critical distance reduces your damage by 20%, and while that's not always going to happen, it still happens enough that having Ballistics is going to be really handy because it basically negates your loss of Pierce up if you're within it. I know it's a roundabout way of saying it, but you get what I'm saying. Now I was hoping Kushala's heavy bowgun would actually take the place for Pierce and heavy bowguns, but sadly that's not going to be the case because it's got a clip size of 4, and it can't walk or shoot or walk and reload its Pierce ammo. It's pretty bad. Instead, Barriott's Heavy Bowgun actually got a slight upgrade with some additional Raw and an extra round of its Pierce 3. We're going to be using that over Nargacugas or Magnum Malos for our Pierce Heavy Bowguns. The main draw is that it can walk and shoot, but it also just got better Raw and a better clip size, so it's pretty good. Unfortunately, it doesn't really have anything in the way of support ammo, so it's pretty much exclusively a Pierce Bowgun or Ice Pierce if you want to go for that. Now, Light Bowgun, no change, shocker I know, but I don't think we're going to be getting rid of Nargacuga's rapid fire Pierce 2s anytime soon. It's just too silly. Especially now that we can scale it with Pierce Up and Rapid Fire Up like a lot easier, it's just nasty. This thing also has base 40% affinity. Like, this bowgun is beyond ridiculous. So you just slap on like Weakness Exploit and Crit Boost, bam, 90% crits on most of your hits. Easy peasy. Now, attack boost with this is also really good and scalable, but it's a bit more difficult now since we kind of want to prioritize our crit and crit boost with this because it has so much innate affinity already. Now, the armor sets for Light Bowgun and Heavy Bowgun are going to be slightly different because Light Bowgun kind of wants rapid fire on the Pierce 2s and Heavy Bowgun just wants to scale its Pierce 3s. Heavy Bowgun armor set's going to be running something like Teo's Crown and Gloves, although Puka Gloves are also acceptable, Chrome Waist for the 3-2-1 slots, and Azura Legs for the 3-2-1 slots as well. The charm you're going to need is basically, you can run it with Wex 2 and a level 2 slot, or something with any 4 level 2 slots like Wex 2, Crit Eye 2, Crit Boost 2, Ballistics, Spare Shot, anything like that. Just get 3 or 4 level 2 slots in your charm, and you're good to go. Pierce Up, Spare Shot 2, and a level 2 slot, you can get pretty much meta at that point. But again, you're going to kind of want to build it a little bit differently depending on your charms. You might have to get rid of Ballistics or Spare Shot, but again, not a big deal. Armor sets are a lot more difficult to build here in Rise because everyone's going to have different charms, so it's kind of difficult. I'm using something basic, like, Vex 2 and Crit Boost and no slots, something like that. Just to give you an idea. But you can definitely go better or take stuff off as much as you need. Losing Ballistics or Spare Shot won't break your Pierce build at all. The more quality of life changes over anything. Basically, on Heavy Bowgun side, we're going to run the exact same armor pieces, except that we can take off those rapid fire boosts to get more crit boost or crit eye or attack or ballistic, Spare Shot, stuff like that. It's easy swapping stuff around. Once you see how the armors work and kind of what's good, you're pretty much set. You can put everything together in no time. I'm going to be including the set builder in the description so you can plug in your charms and basically make sets as much as you want. But you should be able to see that, honestly, any decent charm can work. You just have to change your skills around. For Pierce, just remember, Pierce Up 3, Wex, Crit Boost, and obviously you want Rapid Fire Up if you're running Light Bowgun. Everything else past that, just utility. Spare Shot, Ballistics, Recoil, Reload, you only need like 1 of each for the thing. Not a big deal. Overall, our bowguns didn't change a whole lot here in 2.0. Granted, our armor sets did. We have a much bigger pool of charms and decorations to choose from, so the armor set possibilities are pretty much endless for basically the same amount of skills and same sets. You're just going to have to figure out what works best for you. And that's basically what's going on in the land of raw bowguns for the time being. I'm going to be following up with this video with the Slice, Sticky, and Elemental video, which has a lot more to talk about and it's a lot more interesting, so bear with me on that one. Other than that, though, thank you as always, and good luck out there, hunters, and whatever you may be hunting.